welcome to episode 37 of the Nonsense Review and our last foray into our Halloween spectacular. Yes, I know Halloween was yesterday. Deal with it. I'm your host, Devon, as always, and joining me equally as always is Rick.
Hello.
Yes, if you're new to the podcast, guys, I'll just briefly explain what happens. What we like to do is we like to have a bit of a chat about the goings-on in the world and, well, how we've been during the week before we actually get into the meat of our review and reaction. So, to that end, Rick, how's your week been, buddy?
Behind the curtain, we are recording this one early, and as such, not a lot have happened to me, so what I will do is I'm going to throw to you, Deb, because I know you have had an interesting weekend. What's your weekend been like?
If you listened to last week's episode, you may or may not know that I went to MCM on Friday.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all I'm going to be talking about, because it's the only interesting thing that's happened. First things first, the day started strong, with me and my friend getting yelled at by security.
Oh.
Do you know what I expect out of security, Rick?
Them to check your bags and to rugby tackle people who look like they have swords.
To a certain degree. But more importantly, if I go up to a security guard and go, yo, where is such and such? I don't expect to be shouted at and told to go to Starbucks and wait.
Yeah.
I'm a very calm person. Maybe not so much when I'm talking over mic to people, but in person, I'm rather composed, I like to think at least.
You prefer to de-escalate rather than to escalate.
I do. When someone's shouting in my face, I'd make a point of talking very slowly and quietly, because I'm like, oh, people are shouting. This might, the next escalation above shouting is usually physical stuff, and that's not fun for anybody. And I had to calmly explain, look, I'm not trying to annoy you, I just want to know where to go. And you'd think security would be able to go, guests go that way, exhibitors go that way. That's all the fundamental question was. But instead they're like, you're here 2 hours early, go get a Starbucks. And Starbucks wasn't even open. So yeah, eventually we found out where to go by Matt just looking through like 700 different maps on his phone. And he went, I think we go this way. And I was like, okay, but if we go there and it's the wrong way, then we have to walk all the way back, and that's a lot.
Yep.
We had to basically do a circuit of the building to get to the guest entrance, and I don't know why these security guards were so aggressive about just not telling us any useful information other than go away. It was very odd. And again, I don't think me and Matt were particularly aggressive. I mean, I think it might be because they know everyone going to a con is a nerd, and therefore they can get away with being a bit dickish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of those of, I appreciate we're here early is a decent opener to this, and I'm not asking the code to the safe. What I'm asking for is, where is it gonna be when it opens?
That's exactly it. It's just like, no, I don't expect you to just let us in. I want you to tell us where to go so we know where to be when the doors do open.
Yeah, which is gonna be the correct door.
Pretty much. And the only other alternative is that this isn't out of the realms of possibility, because MCM is very infamous for being poorly fucking organised. There is always the possibility that this set of security guards that only deal with exhibitors just straight up didn't know, which is baffling to think. It's even more weird that I don't even find that necessarily to be untrue.
It would be fine if he'd have just admitted to that as well.
Yeah, they were very weird. They were like, oh, you can come in through this way at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, I don't think that's true, because there's no security checkpoint here. It's just security guards stopping people who aren't exhibitors from going in. I've been to MCMs before, that you queue up, you go through, you show your ticket, you get let in. Obviously, don't. This year, we had to have a COVID pass to even be able to get our tickets. Both me and my friend were both equally annoyed, because all you had to do was show the fucking scannable thing. They didn't scan it. They barely looked at it. They just went, yeah, that looks right. And then they gave us a band saying, yeah, these people are safe. And it's just like, okay, well, this man makes me feel like I'm in danger.
Yeah, because all you have to do is have one of those and to have filled it out yourself.
Well, to be fair, the NHS COVID pass is...
It's a QR code.
It's a QR code, and to get it, you do have to have the NHS app, and you do have to have had 2 lots of jab.
You just need one.
Oh, that's weird.
You get the QR code after your first one, and your second one, you fill it in yourself.
That's not true.
Well, it is up here.
I didn't fill out anything. I just had it on my record. I've had 2 things. Here's your QR code thing on the app.
Okay, for us, you either got a second card or you got it added to your first card. And if you didn't have your first card with you...
That's not a COVID pass.
Okay.
Because I thought it was a COVID pass, Rick. You're absolutely correct, because it's like, here, this is your record of your 2 dosages. And it's just like, cool, that should be enough, right? And I looked up on the MCM website, and they said, if you want to get in, you need a COVID pass from the NHS app. And it's all done digitally. That piece of paper is actually worthless, I found out. Bottom line is, you can literally have just taken a screenshot of a COVID pass and they would have just let you through, which is not good for obvious reasons.
No.
You're basically relying on people to be honest, and there are a fair amount of people who are honest, but, the people who are skirting COVID restrictions anyway are going to be dicks about it anyway, aren't they? Let's be honest.
True, but the demographics that are going to be doing that, nerds are not the ones that tend to cheat.
I get what you're saying, but you can't stereotype like that, especially when it comes to fucking public health.
Yeah.
It's just like, this community's very good about doing blank, so we should just trust them. No.
If any community's going to be bad about it, it's going to be the toxic masculinity of sports fans.
Again, I don't like stereotyping, especially when it comes to this, because there's plenty of fucking nerds who are dicks about it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, your interests aren't going to impact how you feel about this whole COVID restriction thing. There's dickheads on it in every fucking demographic. It's one of those things where sometimes you try to stereotype the person who doesn't wear masks, but working in retail during the height of things, there really was no set type. Anyone could have just been like, no, I'm not wearing a mask because fuck you, I guess.
It's all the type that just goes around with their winky out.
I've never seen that.
Have you not?
No, I've not seen people with their dicks out.
Okay. People walking around with a mask on with the nose out.
The thing that baffles me is the people who still wear a mask but have their nose showing, even now when we don't have a mask mandate.
Yeah.
Why are you even pretending to try? You might as well actually not wear it at this point. You're not compelled to.
Yeah.
I should probably move on. That was me bitching about security for 10 minutes. The first thing you notice when you go into MCM this year, there was massive reduction in the amount of stalls.
Sure.
I think this was two reasons. One, I think possibly there was a fair few business owners who just didn't want to chance it. And also, I don't know if you've ever been to a convention before. I assume you have, Rick.
I've been to MCM before.
There you go. Traditionally, the stalls are very tightly packed.
Yes, they are.
There's not very much room to move down the aisles, as it were, between stalls.
So they did social distancing on stalls, did they?
They did, but they didn't. It was more a way to social distance the con-goers in that there was enough space for an additional set of stalls where people would walk instead this year.
Sure. Stand while queuing or whatever, yeah.
There was no queues. It was the worst thing ever in that it's like, here's all these measures to try and stop people from being unnecessarily close to one another, and everyone's clumping around stalls to look at shit, because of course they are.
Yep.
There was a reduced amount of stalls, but that's fine. It was a lot more indie this year, if you feel me. Less syndicated stalls and more mum and pop game stores just taking a chance, and places where you traditionally find them only on Etsy and nowhere else.
Sure.
Which, you know, I appreciated. There was a lot of bargains to be found, a lot of interesting things. There certainly wasn't as much of a variety as there normally is. Lots of costumes. I felt really bad because the first thing I did was take a picture of how empty the place was, and there was a guy dressed up as a really good Leatherface, and I just went, oh dude, can I get your picture? Took a picture of him, and I went to my buddy. I couldn't take a picture of the near empty con and then let this person who's worked really hard on their costume just walk by being sad. How fucking disrespectful was that? But yeah, we went round the stall. Me and Matt very specifically go there to buy things. We don't go for panels, we don't go for talks. There's sometimes guests that tickle our fancy, but I can never be asked to wait in line just to get a fucking picture with some famous dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't queue up for guests, but I will stay for a panel if...
Okay, listen. Do you know what bugs me about MCM this year?
Did they book in panels and then the people didn't come?
I mean, that's not really MCM's fault, but no, that's not the thing. The thing is, I downloaded the MCM companion app so I'd have the map on my phone.
Okay.
I got a ping every 15 minutes because a new panel kept starting.
Ah.
Yeah, that was a mistake. There was no panels that interested me.
That's a real way to get your app silenced.
Dude, I deleted it like 5 minutes into the con because I was like, the map's not worth it.
Yep. It's a map of the building that you're in. If you can't decide that one end is one end and the other end is the other, then you're...
Oh, I essentially needed it just to know which hall I needed to go into for us to get to the retail stalls.
Sure.
Once I learned that, it was useless.
And it's also useless if you just go to them and find out what's in them.
Yeah, the map's not good either because the stalls are all numbered N050, N0501, and then you have to go to a different section on the app to find out what those numbers mean. Oh, it's poorly designed, but whatever. We went round a con, we bought a ton of shit. We had an embarrassing encounter with a furry stall.
Okay.
Matt thought it would be a great idea to try and be funny.
Oh boy.
I'm just walking absent-mindedly because I tend to block out anything I'm not interested in. We went past a furry stall and Matt went, oh look, tail butt plugs. And the word butt plugs immediately made my brain just fire into overdrive and I went, what?
Asakoko.
It's kind of what I was thinking. And Matt went, oh, nothing, I just said furry butt plugs. I went, where? Because my brain was intrigued because I'm like, they don't usually sell outright adult toys in Comic-Con. But I went, yeah, where are these butt plugs? What he was actually pointing at was just tails. They weren't actually butt plugs. They were things you clip onto your clothes.
Ah, okay.
But more importantly, the stall holder heard his comment and they looked at us and they went, I promise you it's not all furry stuff. Please come have a look. I think I hid it well, but I was quite embarrassed because I was like, oh dear.
That's the worst thing about that is that they're like legitimately trying to to turn a couple of quid just by selling some crap to nerds.
Oh, they're also a fucking lie. It was all furry stuff.
Oh, yeah, totally.
They had stickers and badges and stuff, but they were furry themed. I get what you mean. You don't mean the creepy side of furryism, but it's still furry.
It's not all fursuit and fursuit accoutrements.
See, I've always been on record as I don't actually find furries creepy. Okay, if they do sex stuff in public, that's not good, but 9 out of 10 times they might be walking around in a creepy furry costume, but it's just a creepy furry costume, man. Live and let live.
I find it's the same as, like, being attracted to the Capital City goofball. Like, being attracted to a person in a mascot costume is, to a degree, a little bit weird.
I don't care, man. As long as you're not doing it in public, you know, the actual sexual aspects, do what the fuck you want. But yeah, basically, what we do at cons is we go around, we look to see what kind of catches our eyes first circuit. Second circuit, we put money down and start buying shit. So on our second circuit, I bought a sticker, which I intend to send you at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess the last thing to mention is the swag that I actually ended up walking away with. I bought so much art.
Yeah.
It was a mistake, because I don't have any more wall space.
Well, I mean, you can rotate art on wall space.
I can, but I don't want to. Here's the arrogance with which I live life. My brain is like, well, it's okay. When you finally move out, you'll have much more wall space and can display everything. However, I live in the south, and therefore it's not a reasonable expectation anytime soon.
No, it's not. If there is property, it is owned by someone richer than you.
Here's the actual sad reality of things, because guess what? I don't just say things, I do look into things. I do intend to move out, so I do look at property. A one-bedroom apartment down here is £1,200 a month. If I upped my hours, doing a regular 40-hour work week, I'd get about just over 1,600, which makes £1,200 on rent alone is actually impossible to do, because that doesn't cover your electricity, it doesn't cover utilities. It would basically mean the only thing I could have in my life is a home, which is it's not worth it. Man, that's sad. Anyway, moving on. I bought a little Spyro thing to hold my PlayStation controller when I'm not using it. It looks cool, but it's big. I bought a figure of Froppy from My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
She now is standing weirdly in between all of my FF9 character figures. Oh, yes, you know our friend Aizawa?
Oh, yes.
You know how he always talks to me about Digimon cards?
Yeah.
You know how I think they're really cool?
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of Digimon cards.
Singles or a box?
I bought 2 starter decks because they contain Digimon I liked, and I'm like, cool, I now have these Digimon cards guaranteed.
Yeah.
I also bought another pack which came with 2 promo cards and 4 packets to open.
Okay.
So I spent about £27 on 3 packs or boxes of cards, as it were. I have opened them, I've got some cool stuff, and I need to buy a folder now so I can display them properly.
So 2 battleable decks and some extra ancillary cards.
Extra cards for funsies.
Yeah.
Okay, last but not least, the very last piece of swag I got, which was the most expensive thing I bought at the con, and I'm so glad I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a very nice framed display of some promotional Star Wars discs, CD-ROM type things.
Okay.
Now, in the middle of this is a photograph of Darth Vader next to Boba Fett just after or just before Han gets put into carbonite.
Okay.
And it is signed by one David Prowse.
Ah, sweet. That's actually pretty neat.
It's a very nice display.
Good stuff, good stuff.
That's basically my swag haul. I could talk a lot longer about Comic-Con, but we're getting a bit long in the tooth, and it's just me gushing about how Comic-Cons are fun.
It's one of those things that you really can't do remotely. It's one of the things they tried to do as a virtual Comic-Con, and it just really didn't work. There was no soul to it last year.
Well, the thing with virtual Comic-Cons is it's all well and good, but if you're a person who goes to Comic-Cons to buy shit, you can't do that virtually. You just can't.
Yeah. You can do the virtual Comic-Con and then go on eBay, but at that point, you could have just gone on eBay. Part of the joy of going to the Comic-Con and finding things that you didn't know existed were finding things that you didn't know existed.
And I can't stress this enough. Something a bit unique about the Comic-Con experience is the people who are trying to sell you stuff aren't just trying to sell you stuff, they also are selling you parts of themselves which they are interested in themselves, and they will talk to you about the things they are selling as if they are talking about their firstborn.
A lot of the time, they don't want to sell it, but they want the right person to have it.
Well, I wouldn't quite go that far. They definitely take an interest in the thing they sell, and you can learn quite a bit about what you're actually buying.
Unless they don't. Like, some of them are just retailers.
Like, you're absolutely right. There are a lot of places that are soulless, and they just turn up because they want to make a quick buck, and that's fine too. But anyway, Rick, I feel like we've gushed about Comic-Con for long enough, so care to enlighten the audience as to what we're doing today?
Today, we are talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We're doing Episode 1, Season 1, Welcome to the Hellmouth, and it's available on Disney+. And if you'd like to watch along with us at home, it's 3, 2, 1, and go.
Now, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is something very interesting, because I remember watching a bunch of it as a kid just because it was on, but I don't remember much about it.
I remember watching absolutely none of it, because, like, it was the kind of thing that the people in my year group would watch because they were horny.
Oh, absolutely. Buffy was, back in the day. However, when I was watching this, I would have been like, not even in my teens yet, so I don't think I had the horny energies.
Yeah. So for us, it was the big litmus test of whether you're horny for Buffy or for Alison Hannigan, whatever her character's called.
I think it's Willow.
Yeah, it is.
I know Willow's her, like, big, not sidekick, but, you know, the secondary character, secondary good guy.
Yeah, Buffy and Willow, and then I think Willow ends up with a girl called Tara.
Sweet.
Yeah. And because they're American, she's called Tara, which I thought was obviously the name of the character in Final Fantasy VI. I'm like, I didn't know that was a character's name that got used out in the wild world. But it wasn't. I was just stupid.
No, it's fine, we all were. Man, what is it with made-up American towns or cities ending with the word Dale? We've got Greendale, Riverdale, Sunnydale. You'd think they're down the road from Emmerdale.
I mean, yeah. Emmerdale is filmed near where we live.
Makes sense, being Yorkshire.
And they call a place Skipdale in Emmerdale, and is based on a place called Skipton, which is very definitely a place that's near where we live.
Fair enough. Slightly related to what we're watching, why would you break into your school just to make out?
Yeah. I guess just to be evil.
It's like, I'm a bad boy, I'm breaking into college. Ha ha.
You can tell he's a bad boy because he's got a jacket on.
For real, I unironically love leather jackets, though.
I mean, yeah, totally.
However, if you wear one today, you will get called you will get accused of being a school shooter.
Okay.
Wasn't expecting that. That frightened. That actually got me.
Okay, so here's the thing. A normal leather jacket, no, but a trench coat, yes.
I used to wear a trench coat in college. And, yeah, not college, sorry, no, it was technically sixth form. And because we live in England and not in fucking America, I just got called Neo a bunch.
Yeah.
Which wasn't the worst name in the world, and I hadn't seen Matrix, so I didn't actually get it. So I just rolled with it, because it's not the meanest thing I was called in school.
Man, listen to this 90s butt rock.
Man, you like throwing that word out, but then again, we don't get to use it very often. And people who don't know, eventually played the Prime Minister of Britain in Little Britain. Old Giles.
Yeah.
Created by Joss Whedon before everyone knew he was a cunt. Man, have you seen the stuff that's come out about that dude recently?
No, I haven't, and it's one of those where I don't know if I want to know, because he's made some cool things.
Well, he has.
And I'd kind of like to separate the artist from the actions if it's some really bad stuff.
Alright, he hasn't molested anyone or killed anyone, but
Good.
He's still a piece of shit.
Okay.
If you get, basically he's a bully.
Right.
But he's in a position where him being a bully is kind of like protected. Well, it doesn't matter, he does this, so therefore you can't do anything. Man, the makeup on some of the monsters is very good, considering this is late 90s.
Yeah.
I appreciate the laziness of not even assembling the wardrobe.
Yep.
Or actually, if they just moved, maybe it isn't even a wardrobe, it's just belongings inside of it, come to think of it.
Maybe so.
Man, you would be surprised how often we get asked if we can just give people boxes at work.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the time people just want to, take their stuff home. And don't want to buy a bag.
It's not that. No, these are people who are wanting boxes clearly for, moving purposes.
Hmm.
And it's just like, no. There was chicken in this. The box is basically soggy.
Yeah.
So anything more late 90s than a dude in college riding a skateboard, unironically.
Yep.
Alright, listen, I'm not going to deny that Buffy is a very attractive... the actress who plays Buffy is a very attractive lady. But I wouldn't say she was so attractive that she would stand out from a crowd and make you lose your concentration while riding a skateboard.
Especially not in this gang of extras.
No. When she's in her slaying gear, yes. Especially in later seasons.
But yeah, like, even the normal extras are just generically attractive.
They don't this is going to sound horrible. They don't tend to have ugly people be extras.
No.
They like to draw attention to that shit. Look, I love it as well. Look at that new transfer student, pretty much a hottie, while you're standing next to Willow.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, sophomore is one of those weird words that we just don't have in England.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
It means second year.
Okay. That's good if you're a delinquent, but if you're a model student, that must be actually heart-wrenching. Dickhead. Innit?
He does the cool thing and then and then he backpedals.
Okay, clean slate, but you did a really bad thing, so no clean slate. That doesn't make you look crazy. How did it burn down if it was full of asbestos?
It's full of asbestos.
Hey, do you want to hear some bullshit about college?
Go ahead.
I'm sure you were aware, but I actually quit college. Do you know what I got told by the dude when I said I was quitting?
Just stick it out until you finish and then...
No. He said, by the way, because I must give off this demeanour that I'm incredibly meek, and in some ways I am. But, he said, you know, if you drop out of college at this stage, we're going to have to put a mark on your permanent record. That means the government is going to watch you to make sure you're useful to society. And I went, okay. I didn't say this part, but I thought, that sounds like bullshit, so I'm going to roll the dice on that one. How bullshit does that sound?
I mean, like, we don't even have permanent records over here, really.
Yeah, but by this guy's logic, it's like, because you're going to be leaving college and not going straight into a job, that means that you're, like, you know, the government is going to take special interest in you because you're not going to be very useful.
Yeah, it means you're choosing to throw away your potential qualification to go and be a drug dealer, so people are going to be keeping a special interest on you.
Yeah, it was bullshit.
Tiny miniskirts.
I went to the job centre and they didn't even fucking say anything. They were just like, cool, come back in a week.
Yeah.
Like, awesome. And then I was unemployed for a year. That was fun.
Oh, circling back a little bit to the tiny miniskirt. Did you know that the miniskirt was named after the car?
How?
The lady that designed it really liked the Mini. So she designed the skirt after the car.
I'm kind of impressed, really, because I just would have assumed the miniskirt came before the car.
Yeah. But then again, they're both from the 60s, so...
I just assumed the miniskirt would have been around for longer, just not called a miniskirt. You know? But then again, I suppose before the 60s, it's like, you hussy.
Yeah, you show your ankles, you hussy.
Man, very interesting to note how they were talking about the Black Plague and social repercussions and how it, you know, influenced social things. And it's just like, yeah, cool, we're living through that right now.
Yep. And we're just chatting about miniskirts.
Now, Buffy here looks like she could realistically be in college in the States. The one on the left looks slightly too old. Unnecessarily mean. Oh, you never confessed that.
No.
Man, I swear it was literally... Well, it would have been last week because we were talking about fucking Sabrina. Where it's like, man, I'm glad clicks go away once you reach a certain age. Well, assuming you don't work in an office. If you work in an office, you're kind of stuck with it for life, but hey-ho.
But even then, there's fewer of them.
Yeah. I'm guessing that's a sorority. Oh, it's a club, but it's really a sorority. That's a thing we don't have in the UK either.
Yeah, we don't really have bad parts of town and good parts of town. We just have bad towns and good towns.
I meant sororities and fraternities, but sure, that too.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, our bad part of town is basically the same as the good part of town. We don't really have shooters over here, so...
Well, I can... When you get to a big city like Manchester or London, then yeah, there are bad parts of the city. But towns, they're too small to, be this is good side, this is bad side.
Yeah.
I got some shit stuck in my throat, so I apologise if I forget to edit out some of these coughs I'm going to be doing. Like, for real though, if you're like the only person transferring, then yeah, saying you're the new kid means people are going to know your name just by saying that, if they're faculty.
Yeah. Big Book of Vampires.
Bit on the fucking nose, isn't it?
Oh, poor guy, he's trying to do the right thing by her.
Well, here's the thing. He's like the equivalent of her handler, but she doesn't know that yet, apparently, because it's the first episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's the mission control.
Yeah. He's the Charlie. And Buffy's the Angels. Fuck that! You'd be scarred for life.
Yep. The unfortunate thing is he wasn't even, super drained.
Well, that might just be because effects aren't that good nowadays. These days. Them days. Hi, I'm Buffy, and I like the weird kids. Boy, she definitely gets a glow up at some point, Willow, because I remember her being a lot different to this. No libraries. Alarm bells. We do have a lot of museums.
Formulated from a British museum or the British Museum. Doesn't quite know exactly what to call it.
And it's not just it shouldn't really be called a British Museum. It should be, hey, look at all this cool shit we stole.
That's what museums are.
Yeah, but Britain's pretty bad at it.
Yeah. I mean, there are museums that aren't just things that have been stolen. Some of them have been created. Like, art museums and all that.
But I hate art museums because I'm not a massive, patron of the arts. I quite like history.
True. I like the science museums tend to be pretty good.
I used to go to the one in Wales every time we visited. That was very fun, but it's more aimed towards kids.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at that wooden stake, how plasticky did it look?
Incredibly.
Like, you couldn't trust these actors to hold an actual wooden stake. Like, fucking hell, bro. Why did I say bro?
I think it's less that, and then more they didn't want to break it by wielding it as a prop.
But it's also a piece of fucking wood that you could literally make another one in 5 seconds.
Yeah, they just want the perfect one, I guess. The extreme dead guy.
Why is she the one giving this news and there isn't like literally a fucking announcement over the PA saying, yo, kids go home, we found a dead body? Well, I've played Persona 4. There wasn't even a murder at that school. There was just a murder nearby and I went, everyone go straight home.
Someone was killed, go home. Who wants to talk about murders?
Shut it, Adachi. Was she strong as shit?
Yeah, she is.
Also, that door was clearly made of styrofoam. Why would they leave it there? Like, I'm baffled. I know this is the late 90s, but surely they were more prepared for this sort of scenario than not at all. They wouldn't just leave a dead body on the floor in a goddamn college.
Man, last month's hair, is there a more 90s American statement than last month's hair?
Something about pies and fucking them.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know, it was the first American not sitcom, but comedic film I could think of. Well, that's good. I'll give him credit where credit's due. That is the law established by Bram Stoker. Bram Stoker? I wrote Dracula, right?
Yeah, he's the one that wrote the real Dracula book.
Yeah, okay, cool. I was for a moment, I was like, wait, were they just a director or were they the author? I really can't remember. How bad is it that only one person in the entire world is chosen as a Slayer?
It's a bit shitty, but also I think it's like established that you don't have to be the Slayer to be able to kill a vampire, but her skills and abilities make it easy for her.
I know Seth Green turns up at some point and he's a werewolf and he helps her a bunch.
Yeah.
Might have been one of Seth Green's earliest roles, actually.
Maybe.
Bear in mind, this would have just the mere mention of the words incubi and succubi would have made deeply religious Christian parents go absolutely apeshit in the late 90s. You can't be retired at 16. I assume she's 16. I don't know. It's been a while. She looks young.
Well, I think she's meant to be 16. I think she was about 19 at this point. That got real.
See, it's one of those real things where, as a teenager, that seems quite fucked. If this happened to her when she was older, she would probably be more willing. Well, that's fucking stupid. How did Giles not know he was even in there?
He's got a one-track mind. There are two things on that one-track mind. Vampires and books.
A crucial mystical upheaval, Rick.
Yep. So as far as I'm aware, that like this entire village is just like the super nexus of super doom.
I mean, it has to be because there's a Monster of the Week every week.
Yeah. But, like, it's like the interstice of Eldritch, Hell, and something else. And yeah, normally it's vampires, but also, yeah, other things too.
Man, I don't know if you know, because I certainly don't. How long does it take for Spike to show up? Because I remember really liking that character.
Yeah, I assume he's sometime in season 1 at least.
I know he's the main sort of villain in season 2, because he really wants to fucking kill Buffy for some reason.
He really wants to fucking fuck Buffy.
That's after the whole murder thing, whole murder phase.
Yeah.
Again, the practical effects are fucking amazing for a fucking TV show in the 90s.
Yeah, you can't see the join.
Fucking Ahsoka's head things looked worse than that in certain angles. Spoiler for Mandalorian Season 2. Man, I vaguely recall Joyce being more milfy than that.
Yeah, fair enough. I remember, like, Joyce is such a grandma name.
Well, it would be. Like, you gotta bear in mind, she's 30 in the late 90s.
Yeah, I suppose.
So nowadays, she'd be fucking...
70, yeah.
No, not quite 70. Well, if she was 40, then she'd be close to 70.
Yeah.
Oh, she is 16 at this point.
Okay.
Which means if you're an adult living in the States, you're not allowed to feel things.
Nope.
It's still creepy for me and Rick to feel things, but me and Rick are going based on our memories on her at the end of the season, where she is a lot more bodacious, shall we say.
And also our memories of when we were 15.
I wasn't 15, I was 10.
Yeah, you were 10. You were 10.
I thought Buffy was lame because she was a girl. I liked Angel and Spike because they were dudes being burly. And then I hit puberty and I was like, that Willow.
Well, she's like the live-action version of your Misty in terms of your development.
I guess, but again, I was never actively invested in Buffy. It was just something that was on. And in the 90s, you couldn't just choose what to watch, guys. Even early 2000s.
The only thing you could do is choose to watch it or not.
Yeah.
And, yeah, whether or not you wanted to just give up after The Simpsons and not watch Buffy.
I actually think this played in the morning sometimes on Sky, on a channel opposite Sky, but Sky had the wrestling, so therefore...
Sure. Yeah, for us, I think it was the thing that came on after The Simpsons.
That's fine. That'd make more sense.
Yeah.
I don't even know what rating this has. It has to probably be like a 15.
Nah, it'll be like a 12. It's nothing.
I think this is Angel, isn't it?
Yeah, this is going to be Angel, yeah.
See, I was actually blown away when they mentioned Angel by name in the description of episode 2, because I could have sworn Angel didn't come in till like really late. And then he got his own series. That is really cool and a nice way to show off how strong she is.
Yeah. And how athletic she is.
Yeah.
Because no matter how strong you are, you still have to be very skilled to be able to do that.
Whenever someone says don't worry, it usually causes people to worry.
Especially seeing as he's being sketchy as fuck by saying, I don't bite.
What is it with that joke? Boy, this dude is not a good actor. At least this early on.
Yeah, he's nice and broody at least.
That's a really interesting fabric choice for a suit.
Oh, velour.
It's cool, but it's so dumb as well, if you get what I mean. It looks good in the dark, but if you see that during the day, it's going to look like a tit.
Yep. It's like, well, it is velour, isn't it? It's just like fake suede.
I guess so.
Plastic shit.
Yeah, plastic shit. That's a good line.
It is a good line.
Man, I remember there's a really late point in the show with involving Spike. Because Spike eventually just becomes cool enough to just generically hang around with Buffy and her friends. It's very weird. Because that dude's a psychopath.
Yeah, when he stops being evil enough to be, like, a threat, and stops being a dick enough to, you know...
Well, for anyone who's not seen Buffy, let me explain it this way. The reason why he's called Spike, and I may be misremembering, so I apologise if I'm wrong, but please don't jump down my throat if I am. The reason he's called Spike is because he had a very nice, fun habit of impaling people on railroad spikes.
Okay.
So that's why why everyone called him Spike, at least to start with. So it's more of a nickname than an actual name. I think. Again, I could be very wrong and be conflating him with another character. I don't know. But there's a moment later on where... I can't even remember the character, but one of the women characters gets accused of being a witch by her family and need to take her back. And they're having a whole discussion about how that's a dick thing to do, blah, 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 blah. And Spike just goes, ugh, bloody hell. And goes forward and slaps the character being accused of being a witch. And then he feels pain. And then he just straight up explains, hey, if she was a witch, I wouldn't have felt nothing. Because you're not allowed to just strike mortals. Or so. It's a weird vampire rule that gets made up for bullshit reasons.
Okay.
I recall Buffy being very... They very much adhered to the old vampirism rules of, hey, if you're a vampire, you have to obey these rules.
Yeah, and they set up the rules early on, and then they obey them throughout the entire show, apart from individual characters.
It's one of those where they're very loosey-goosey when they have to be, because they need X character to be in Y situation. They do their best to adhere to it, but sometimes they have to come up with bullshit reasons for them to be ignored. Look, when she's wearing her own clothes in the nightclub, she is very pretty. Or, enhanced in her beauty. I guess you could probably tell by the fact that her character development later on, and when I go through puberty, I'm like, I like this character. You can tell I like the nerdy type of lady.
Plus, redheads.
I don't give a shit about hair colour. Oh, but you do. I forgot.
I like redheads.
You do. You're like Iron Bull. Yeah, but redheads.
The really disappointing thing about that is that they don't have a way to check if your player character is ginger.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he would add you to the list of people that are reasons why he joined the Inquisition. Because normally it's basically, Liliana.
Yeah, and you ain't getting nowhere near that.
Because either she's married to the job or she's married to the Dragon Age 1 guy.
Yeah. Is it not weird that your librarian is hanging out in the place where all the kids go?
I mean, yes.
Okay, I've heard Bovril mentioned before, and I always thought it was a kind of medicine, but it clearly isn't. What is it?
It's gravy.
Ah!
It's instant gravy.
Oh no, oh no.
So it's like Oxo, but you make it out of paste.
I wish I didn't ask. I just thought it was like a really strong cough syrup.
No, you're thinking of Cavonia.
I know what Cavonia is.
Or Vinos.
Listen, this is how seriously I took the COVID pandemic when it started and we went into lockdown. I bought 3 bottles of Carvonia because I was looking up on stuff that could help during the pandemic, and they said, hey, why don't you buy some chesty cough medicine so that if someone in your family does get it, you are prepared. And I was like, that's a good idea. I then read the the advisory label on Carvonia, and it says, do not take if you have breathing difficulties.
Yep.
Which,
it's the one thing that you want it to help you with. You don't want to be coughing when you got breathing difficulties, so you take the cough syrup. But yeah.
If you've got COVID, and you've got COVID bad enough to have heavy symptoms, you're going to have breathing difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
And we did, by the way. Well, I can't speak for the other members of my family, but when I had... I always say I had COVID. There's no way of proving it, because we didn't take tests or anything at the time, because there wasn't any. But by all accounts, all the symptoms track with it being COVID. Like, we lost sense of smell and taste. I thought I was going to die. That's how bad my breathing got.
Yep.
Like, you might even remember, Rick, I messaged the group chat saying, listen, guys, this might be it. I'm scared.
yeah, absolutely.
Which is really funny to laugh at now, but at the time, I was legitimately having, like, panic attacks thinking I was going to die. That is such a weird way of approaching vampire hunting. If I see one, then sure, I'll give it a little steaky do.
Being called a textbook with arms, though, that's...
I mean, honestly, if someone said that to me, I'd take it as a compliment.
Yeah. Plus, he's wearing glasses. Like, she could just say you look like a textbook with glasses, but that would be a personal attack.
It would be. There is no quicker way to give me a big head than say I'm smart, because I don't think I am. So if someone else says I am, I'm just like, I feel good. Happened to me at work when I first started working at retail job. I almost said a character. There was a girl who was 16 there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't call myself smart because I don't know a lot, but I do know a lot, if you know what I mean. I know a broad variety of things. I know surface level knowledge on a lot of stuff. But any further than surface level and I just get really lost very quickly. But because I know a lot of surface level shit, I can pretty much make small talk about a lot of random crap. And when I'm probed and asked about random shit, I almost always have at least an answer. Might not be a good answer or a very thorough answer, but I can say things. And after asking me a bunch of asinine nonsense for reasons I did not really know, she just went, wow, you're really smart, and I had a big head for the rest of the week.
Man, isn't it great when everyone knows that one person who thinks they know more about everything than everything, and will try to join in on any conversation with their own opinion, and sometimes their opinion is so flawed that all you have to do is say something along the lines of, yeah, but I don't live at your house.
Okay.
Why don't you go this way to this place? Well, because I don't...
Oh, that's what you meant. Gotcha.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Well, that's not a good first impression, is it?
Well, it's not even the first impression. It's like the fifth time that they talk to each other.
Oh, and it's in front of a bunch of other people as well. Now, you know she's a rich bitch because she has a mobile phone in 1997.
Yep. And you can tell that it's a mobile phone in the 90s because she even took out the aerial on it.
Oh, isn't that the vampire that we saw earlier? That's the one we saw at the beginning of the episode, killing that dude. I think this is meant to be a red herring in that the dude who wandered off with Willow isn't actually a vampire, but Buffy just assumes he is because Willow's so socially awkward.
Maybe it's both.
Maybe, but that'd be weird because that would mean introducing a brand new threat for no reason. Hordak? No, not quite.
It does look a bit like Hordak.
That's a very good Nosferatu-esque vampire.
And he's not got any blood stuck to him at all.
No, it'd be a waste, wouldn't it?
Oh, apart from to his shoes. He's got some on his shoes.
Dude, I cannot imagine how annoying it must be to act while under this much latex.
You can tell that you can see them like struggling to breathe.
Yeah. Like one of my favourite stories is you know Star Trek, right? I don't know if you've seen much of it.
Yeah, I'm vaguely aware of Star Trek. Yeah.
You know who Worf is?
Yeah.
Yeah, the actor after Star Trek: The Next Generation said, "I'm never wearing this costume ever again. You can't make me. You can't make me." And they went, "Okay, but we want you for Deep Space Nine. We're going to make Worf an XYZ character. He's going to be really integral." And he's just like, "No, you can't." And then they gave him a number. And then they increased that number. And then they increased it again. And the guy who plays Worf just went, "Worf me up, baby." And I can fucking respect that.
That's a pretty good one.
I believe they did a similar thing with Data as well.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, another one. I think this is a Joss Whedon story because I believe he was on the next Generation as a kid. I might be misremembering, but there was a kid character played by someone, and basically the actor needed more money for one reason or another, and he was like, "Cool, we're going into the next season. Can I get a raise?" And they were like, "We can't get a raise, no, but we will make your character. We will promote your character to a higher rank." And it's just like, and literally word for word, it's like, why the fuck do I care? I don't pay my bills. I haven't heard you for a minute.
Yeah, I'm just listening to the show for a little bit. Let's go and shag in the graveyard. There you go.
I cannot think of a less romantic place.
No, like as far as I'm concerned, the graveyard is one of the places to go where no one is going to go, and that's exactly why it's going to be secluded. But also, it's outside. Let's go bang in the mausoleum.
Is he a vampire or is he just a rapist? It's the 90s. It could be either.
The fact is, he's like pulled her hair aside to look at her neck, so he probably is a vampire.
Probably, but he could also just be creepy rapist man. Oh yeah, no, yeah, he's a fraud because he's working for her.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the dude is absolutely up for it because we all think with our penises.
Yep.
It's a stereotype for a reason.
She gave me a hickey. You didn't feel it or anything, it's just...
Well, I've always been appreciative of the thought that a vampire bite is like an anesthetic when once it goes into you.
I think everyone at school had someone who could do the Buffy vampire eyebrow thing on their own.
Eyebrow thing?
Well, you know how, like, the way that... Yeah, like, the big thing is that they have, like, tall eyebrows.
Oh, that's... Okay. I assume that's a reference that we would have gotten if we were around at the time.
Yeah. That was a pretty good set of things that you might want to avoid.
Yeah. That was laughably easy. That's a pretty good retort.
Yeah.
See, as a vampire, would you not be concerned because you're meant to have heightened strength and reflexes and stuff, and this human is blocking your blows?
Not only that, but you've just seen her pop the other vampire in your gang.
Yeah, but she explained why she's not concerned about that. It's like, he's young and stupid. He was bound to make a mistake at some point. Well... Dude, it looks like they literally just ripped off the effects from Men in Black, the Cockroach Man.
A little bit, yeah.
Shit, might be the same actor.
It might be.
It's got the same fucking mannerisms.
Yeah.
I saw that line come in, but it's still cool.
It is.
Is there any more... Is there an easier way of showing disdain for your opponent than just a quick backhand?
Yeah, just the backhand, but also on the back of pretending to respect them and then going, yeah, but I'm better.
Yeah. That was an unnecessary maneuver. Oh, that's a broken back.
Yep. Right in the ass bone.
Yep. Thanks for giving me exposition before I murder you. He looks proper fucking conked out, doesn't he?
Yep. The drugged up master.
That's straight up fucking wrestling shit, man.
Yep.
I'm guessing she's going to get sealed in.
It would make sense.
I think we're going to have a cliffhanger. Why are you being slow? Why are you being slow and sneaky? He knows you're in there.
If he can just kill her really easily, then why isn't he trying to... There we go.
Because he's toying with her, man. It's a good crux for a villain of just like, why didn't you win? Because I was toying with her because I thought she was nothing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Man, only a minute long worth of credits. That's always fun. It's been a while. Fucking bastard. Why does it do this sometimes? You click on to watch the fucking credits and it just goes, no, you clearly wanted to leave the whole thing.
It's fine.
Is it? I want to give Disney Plus some shit.
There's 30 seconds left anyway.
Okay, well... fill time for 30 seconds, I guess. Without being funny and cute about the credits.
That is actually the end of the real credits, and everything else after this is things in the same credits in Suomi.
But yeah, what did you actually think of the first ever episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
It had more lore in it than I remember, so that's a good start. They did a lot of establishment. Buffy was a little bit more whiny than I remember.
We've clearly not seen the events that happened in our last town, and she's clearly decided at this point she is determined to not actually be a vampire slayer. She wants to move on with her life and be just a normal girl. But obviously, she picked a bad town to move to if that's what she wants to do.
Yeah.
As for me, I enjoyed it. It was fine. Again, I don't remember actually sitting down and watching all of Buffy. There's a lot of gaps in my knowledge. I've never seen this first episode, and I too was taken aback by the fact that no, she's not actually gung-ho and wants to be a slayer.
She essentially wants to retire.
I'd love to retire at 16. I think overall it was a good episode. It certainly did what it needed to do. All the main gang showed up. We've got Xander, Willow, and Buffy all established. Giles is established. As well as meeting Angel, which again, I didn't expect him to show up in the first episode. I thought he was a much later addition.
Yeah.
So, time to wind down, and the first thing we like to do is, Rick, did you have a favourite moment, buddy?
My favourite moment was doing the freestanding handstand above Angel, waiting for him to pass underneath. Like you said at the time, it's a good way to show athleticism and also skill.
Absolutely, man. Like, I couldn't do that shit.
But yeah, how about you? Do you have a favourite moment?
I guess I liked the revelation of Giles revealing himself to be a Watcher. That was a cool moment, if a bit creepy, if you get me.
Yeah.
Creepy in universe, but cool and interesting as a viewer. We can't only gush about the good things in life, the good things in the show. We do have to address the elephant in the room, as it were. Rick, do you have a weakest link for me?
I think the action in general of the first episode was low. Yes, they had a bit of fisticuffs and fighting, but they're not quite in the swing of things yet. I'm aware that it will get better, but in terms of early episodes, I didn't think the action was up to par just yet.
I absolutely appreciate that. They definitely saved all of that action for the end, because this was a running series, and the way for running series is to continue, is to keep viewers gripped, viewership stays up, they get renewed, etc. So what better way to keep people tuning in for episode 2 than leaving it on a cliffhanger, and not just any cliffhanger, an action-packed cliffhanger.
But yeah, how about you? Did you have a weakest link?
My weakest link is going to be a bit meta, and I apologise in advance. My weakest link is the fact that this was created, written, directed, produced by Joss Whedon, who in recent times has been known to be a massive piece of shit.
Retroactive association.
Pretty much. Buffy is a good series, but if I remember correctly, I think it was around season 3 where one of the actors got pregnant and had to leave for a while, which made Joss Whedon incensed, and he was a arsehole about it, and berated a pregnant woman for being pregnant.
Oh man.
That is the story I have heard the most, and probably one of the worst stories told. It's not cool. Guy's an arsehole, and he ruined retroactively so many good things that he's worked on. I know it's just like you try and separate the person from the artist, but with some things it's just hard to do. It does taint things, unfortunately. Rick, our most important part of the episode is upon us. Do you have an MVP for me?
I'm going to say the MVP for me is going to be Giles, because he's the one that really did move the plot forward the most in terms of bringing Buffy back into the fold of doing the right thing and also being there to be the mission control. He's there now. She can go to him whenever she needs. But how about you? Do you have an MVP?
We are of one on this. I also believe that Giles deserves the MVP award in this episode, at least. He's probably the most interesting character we've been introduced to so far. Like, Buffy's the main attraction, no doubt, and she does get more interesting as time goes on, but as of right now, she is a very whiny character, and without Giles giving her a prod in the right direction, and like, hell, even without Willow being actually captured by vampires, if Willow didn't get taken by a vampire, I firmly believe that this massacre would have happened this night.
And if it weren't for the fact that Willow was so adorable, like, nobody would have paid her attention to her anyway. Like, if she was a generic mean girl, she probably would have just been eaten by now.
Well, it's even worse than that, because the reason why Willow was targeted is she is shy and not used to being approached. And now there is an attractive man approaching her and flirting with her, and she's like, oh, I got lucky, I'm all gooey.
Yeah, 20 minutes after Buffy tells her to seize the day, take a chance now and then.
Unfortunate, but yes, Giles definitely deserves the award. We should probably say our farewells. So if you've made it this far, guys, you know the drill by now. You are our favourite people, and that will never change. However, if you wish to get in contact with us, tell us how you feel, tell us what you think, even give suggestions for future episodes. We are open to all these ideas. All you need to do is give us a little comment down below, and we read everyone, in case you didn't know. That is if you're on YouTube, of course. If you are not watching on YouTube and you're listening via one of our many audio platforms, you can send us an email. Now, if you want to send us an email, you may be wondering, where do you want to send this email? Rick, do you want to help them out?
That will be at nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
This is sadly our last episode of our spooky month of October, and our regular programming resumes next week. So stay tuned, guys. See you next week.
Bye-bye!